Hello and welcome to the podcast, Falcon Paladin.
Thank you, Sir Somicron. I heard that Discord had an update.
Mm-hmm. Yep, broke everything. It
Hmm.
was fantastic. Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Discord. Also, 5 minutes before the show, I was like, I'm
Uh
gonna go get some
huh.
water. You're getting.
Sorry, I'm trying to refocus. Uh huh.
Yeah, I went to go get
I'm listening.
some water, and I came back. My PC was like, Hey, we're just restarting for a Windows update. And I'm like, Now? Now is
Yeah.
when you do
N-
that?
Now of all times.
Thanks. But hey, we're here. We're on time. Um, I mean, it jokes on me, I guess, because it's April 1st.
Almost. But
Well,
yes,
for me it is. So,
I know.
yeah, yeah.
Ah, the classic time split. Will this ever not be confusing? Tune in to find out.
Mm, mm. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah. I mean, I've already seen several April Fools things. With like AI slop being like, look, we've the local it's called Wenty Leagues Club. It's I was gonna say it's like an RSL, but I don't think you know what an RSL is. Um, just think of it as like a place that has like sports grounds and a restaurant, and like an RSL is a retired serviceman league, so it's a thing that supports local retired servicemen, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In reality, it's a place that supports local servicemen to get on the pokies and just like gamble a ton. And it's like cool. But usually they have spaces for like functions and get-togethers. So like a couple of years ago, my work held their Christmas party there. So because you could
Mm.
book out space for like 60 people, and then just there's a bunch of restaurants or a buffet or whatever. Anyway, Winter Leagues was like, hey, we got a giant magpie statue for our parking lot, and it's this thing that like towers over the building, and I'm like, that is so obviously AI slop. It just looks awful. Please do better.
One day your dream will come true. One
Yeah,
day it will be indistinguishable from not AI slot. So
yeah, that's
careful
true.
what you wish for, I guess.
But I mean, if you're gonna do an April Fool's thing, just pay an actual artist to Photoshop that. Like, it'll cost you $200. It won't be hard. It'll be cheap. It'll look
Hmm.
way better. It'll have an actual magpie if you want to call it a magpie, not that whatever bird that was.
Why do you hate the future, Somicron? Why are you resisting progress of humanity as we dawn on a new technological age? Honestly, I never knew you were such a Luddite.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm a luddite. Sure.
Look, I'm just saying, it's the future, man. Like, I get it. We can rage against it all we want, but it's coming. You
All
can't stop it.
all that's left is the dying of the light and the raging against the dying of the light. Isn't that the quote from Warhammer? I'm gonna
It
stick
is.
to it.
Yeah, that's the quote from Warhammer and nowhere else.
And
Rage,
nowhere
rage, rage
else.
against the dying of the light.
Yep,
Correct.
that's what the Emperor said, didn't he? When he got on the throne.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember it very
That was it.
clearly. It's quoting the Emperor and no one else. Yeah.
No, it's wonderful poetry. Really
Mhm.
evokes some distinct emotion. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Anywho's.
Anywho's.
Was that just a rant against AI art then?
Um, look, AI art could be fine, right?
It will
I.
be.
It's just you can do multi. You can tell it to like have another go at something. That's my problem here. The way people are using it, they're just taking the first thing that it spits out and going, good enough. Like you
Uh
can
huh.
tell it, have another crack at that. you
Yeah.
can you can erase bits and be like, do the scaffold here, but make the lines even and connecting instead of just spaghetti scaffolding. You know.
No, I hear you. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yup.
That's all that's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. Fair enough. Hmm. So, on the topic of April Fools, I saw a news story where a college football organization in the South, I think it's in like Memphis, Tennessee,
Sure.
said that next season, if you buy a ticket to the game, you also get like four free food items. Like
Okay.
for free. Like a hot dog or a hamburger, popcorn, fries, nachos, a drink, whatever you want for free.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's a little too close to April Fool's for this. Like, I know it's not April Fool's yet. I know it is in Australia, but these guys are
Hmm.
in Memphis.
Uh huh.
But it's like within spitting distance.
Right.
Because I was like, that is a absolute ton of food. That is like
Four free,
40,000 people.
four free items
Four
for
free
just for a
food
ticket.
items. Yeah.
Are they
Yes,
increasing the
with
cost
your
of their
ticket.
ticket by 10 times as much? It's like,
I the article didn't say they were. I mean, it'd be hilarious if they did. They're just
right.
like, we're just pricing this into your ticket now. Deal with
Hmm.
it.
Yep.
Um, but if they're not, first it's a crazy idea.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I'm just curious to see if that actually happens. Because there have been a couple of football organizations that are like, we're doing cheaper food. Because most people are like, it's $5 for a hot dog, or it's $7 for a thing of popcorn, or this drink is $4. It's like, okay, you are obviously gouging us because you have no competition.
Right.
We are here at the game. The only way we can get food, you don't let us bring it from the outside, is to buy your food, so you're killing us.
Hmm.
So this one, like the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta, were like, okay, we're going to make it easy. We're going to make it cheaper for you guys. We're going to cut our profit margins and see if you like it. And that seems to be pretty popular.
Mm.
So,
Fair enough.
anyway.
Fair enough. Yeah, I saw
Anyway.
on Reddit there's a April Fool's mega thread of like all the anime stuff because Japan's on my time zones. Um, so there's a bunch of like studios doing like jokes for like upcoming releases. There's a AniList, which is like it's like uh, like a cataloging site for anime. What they did was uh, they replaced all the cover up for every show with hand drawn pictures that users could submit. So the anime Bleach no longer looks like Bleach; it's now a hand drawn bottle of Clorox, you know, which
Right.
so that's what they're doing for April Fools. And someone here has posted trustworthy anime site.blogspot is claiming too many losing heroines has been cancelled. It'll be a truly sad day for all 5 fans.
I mean, I gotta say, I haven't really seen many people talking about that one. It is a
I've
charming anime. We like it, but I'm just saying, I haven't seen like a lot of people going nuts over it on the internet. That's all.
look. Is it going to be the next part of the next big three? No, it has more than 5 fans. this is
Right.
this is very clearly April Fools. So
It is. It is. It is. But what's interesting is that it's like plausible enough, right?
I
Because
mean,
it's not that big. Part of you is like, So that's a question. When you're doing an April Fool's prank, is it better to do something that makes the person look at it and go, hang on a second, that's actually plausible? Or do you choose something that's so wildly out there that they don't even consider it to be true?
yeah, I don't. I think it has to go. Oh, hold on.
Okay.
There has to be a chance of this could be true. Also, I would just like to say, Machine is ranked 470th in popularity, right? Which sounds really low, but then you realize there's about 50,000 anime, and that's pretty good.
That's okay. So, how about based on the season that it's in, that it released?
Oh,
Can you sort it by that?
I mean, might be able to, but that will be harder to find. Summer 2024. How can I sort this? Sort by score.
Ooh, yeah. Sorting. Sorting is quite
Sorting by
nice.
score. It is the second highest rated of the season it came out, right behind
Oh.
Oshinoko.
Okay, that's way more popular than I thought it was. That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah.
Yep.
Huh. All right. Good. Good to know. I now know its proper place in anime popularity based on its season and overall.
Yeah. I didn't expect to have to defend that today. I thought it was pretty established that it was a good show and everyone liked it. And
I mean, to be fair, I don't really travel in anime circles. I don't have a lot of friends that are like, ooh, the animes. It's like people on Discord, if they post about it, okay, then I know about it.
mm-hmm.
Or if it shows up on Reddit on something, then I'm like, okay, I know about that too.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I mean, Reddit only really gets into the big stuff. It's only like Jujutsu Kaisen and what else have they talked about recently? There were always posts about JoJo.
Okay, yeah, JoJo.
I know, right?
JoJo's
It's
Bizarre
huge,
Adventure. Yep.
huge over there for some reason.
JoJo and Jujutsu
Anyways.
Kaisen, the two J shows. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all
for
they
some reason
posted
they
about.
like, yeah, they like the J animes. Don't know what it is.
Uh-huh.
God, really funny too. I was watching Mob Psycho with my daughter
Uh-huh.
over the last couple of days. So good. Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, it's worth a rewatch.
Mm-hmm. True.
And I'm so proud too because I was like, we should watch this, and she's like, I don't know, man. I don't trust your recommendations. You're old, and I'm like,
Yeah, okay.
But now she is in. She's like, Reagan's the best. I love Dimple. Oh, poor Mob. She's like super emotionally invested into the show, and I'm like, yes. I knew it. I knew it was good.
You know, sometimes they
Anyway,
just gotta see
it's
for
funny too
themselves.
because she's been watching other animes, right? So she has context for like Jujutsu Kaisen, where she's like, people die in that all the time. In this show, characters have plot armor. If this scene was happening in Jujutsu Kaisen, I'd be like, oh no, this character's gonna die. But here I'm like, he'll be fine. He's the main character. It's like, okay. So yeah, JJK is doing that well. Additionally, she says that there's a Bungo Stray Dogs. Have you heard of this one?
I have heard of Bungo Stray Dogs. I have not seen it, but I've
Yeah.
heard of it. Yep.
She's pointed out like 3 or 4 story elements or like special powers that characters in Mob Psycho have that also show up in Bungo Stray Dogs.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was interesting, and I had to pull it up and be like, look, Mob Psycho was a webcomic in 2012. It very much predates Bungo Stray Dogs.
Bungo Stray Dogs was also a comic in 2012.
It's the same year.
Yeah.
They were copying each other's homework. Oh no.
What I will say is Bungo Stray Dogs' original run, December 4th, so it's pretty likely that Mob was just before it. I'm just gonna throw
Maybe
that.
as many as a whole week, or maybe several.
Or maybe several months, yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
He's gonna be the real plot twist that it's actually written by the same guy.
Yeah, that'd be really funny. Because Mob Psycho is One Punch Man, so he's very willing to write other stuff.
Oh, is it? It's the same guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally is. Which you can kind of see when you look at Mob versus Saitama. You're kind of like, okay, so kind of like the same Blink facial features here.
I don't know how to
kinda
write.
see this.
I don't know how to have a point of view character with personality, so I'm gonna like cut
Right.
it out and just give it to a bunch of over the top personalities around him.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's his style. He likes it.
Yeah. Okay. So the original run of Mob Psycho was April 18th, 2012. So a good,
Okay.
10 months. Not 10 months. 6 months. Before.
So it's been confirmed Bungo Stray Dogs is obviously plagiarizing heavily
Well.
from Mob Psycho 100 and must be taken to task.
Well, now. We're talking about specific characters. Maybe they didn't show up in Mob Psycho until after Bungo Stray Dogs started.
Ooh, that's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Because specifically, there's a character that shows up with gravity powers,
Okay.
and that's one of the things that she hit on, and that doesn't show up until, till later in season 1. So maybe you're right. Maybe there is a little bit of overlap there.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Fancy. Anyway, back to April Fools. Why did you say April Fools jokes have to have plausibility? You were
I
to
just
a point there.
I just think they're better.
Okay.
All I remember is the greatest April Fool's Day prank was a guy in, I want to say, Canada, who rolled a bunch of like tires up a mountain and then filled them with like filled the top of this mountain with like smoke grenade. I want to say smoke grenades, but they're just like, I don't know, smoke emitting grenades. And then April 1st comes along, and he waited 3 years to do it because it kept raining and being like overcast, and then he lit all the smoke canisters so it looked like smoke was pouring out the top of this dead volcano, and then pushed the tires down the mountain lit on fire so it looked like the volcano was erupting.
Which plausible. Volcanoes do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's it.
That's funny. Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
I'm on board. All right. Should we get into the Warhammers?
Did you want to talk about Destiny, or are you just sharing that because I played it?
Yeah, just a
Okay.
tiny bit. So this YouTuber, I always confused if it's White Light or Whiter Light.
White Light.
White Light. He's just White Light. He's a British YouTuber. He talks about games. I really like the way that he talks about them.
Okay.
And he got started doing Destiny, but then he kind of fell off.
Mm-hmm.
And this video is basically him being like, I tried, like, consolidating my feelings about this game into a video 6 or 7 times. It's so hard for me to talk about it because it's so much.
Mm-hmm.
And, but here it is. And bottom line, he says he used to love it. It used to be his favorite game.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, he says he likes it, and he doesn't love it anymore. And here are the reasons why. And a lot of it's writing. A lot of it's like the writing is gappy and loose, and they make stuff up as they go, it feels like. And it's more of a game about visuals and like the fun fights and stuff, yeah?
Did he get into how the story was told in Destiny 1?
Because he's talking about Destiny 1. Is he talking about 2?
He's probably talking about Destiny 2, because I don't think Destiny 1 servers are up anymore. Right? Like, you can't play that even if you wanted to.
Oh. I mean, the name of the video is Destiny, not Destiny 2.
Right, but I'm looking
I mean,
at the
you're probably
video, and
right.
he's playing Destiny 2. So.
Okay, so this is all very Destiny 2.
I mean, it's probably both. He's probably talking about both. Destiny 1 had very few cutscenes, right? One of the cutscenes was a character turning up and being like, I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain this. And, you know,
Excellent.
it was really, really bad. Then, to couple down with that, like to double down, what they did was you could find grimoire cards throughout the... because it's open world, right? So you could go around and explore, you could find these grimoire cards. And the idea was these grimoire cards would have little bits of story in them. Like, maybe they would just be about the area, because, like, on Earth, the area you could explore was an old, like, Russian cosmodrome, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe it's a bit about that, maybe it's about the collapse, maybe it's about the giant sphere that came up and turned people immortal, or, you know, something about that.
Yeah, that one.
Right, that's the Traveler, it's the giant sphere. Anyway, really neat idea, you know, finding little diaries and stuff like that. The problem is, you couldn't read them in the game. You had to go to Bungie.net, link your account, so it knew which ones you had, and read them there.
Yeah, that sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
He did say that. He's like, yeah, there's all these lore dumps that you can't read in-game. And I was like, really? And yes, apparently really. Not a joke.
Yep. Really bad. So maybe he is talking a lot about Destiny 1. But I'm seeing clips here that I'm pretty sure are from Destiny 2.
Maybe he's just calling Destiny 1 and 2 Destiny.
Yeah, it's like saying I fell out of love with Halo, and then talking
Yeah.
about all the games in general. Not specifically
Yeah.
Halo CE. Yeah, no, like, Destiny 2 is really good to, like, jump into once every, I don't know, year maybe. Get some loot, run around shooting stuff. The gameplay is really, really good. There's just nothing more to it. It's like, hey, do you want to run Prison of Elders for the 6th time today? No, I don't.
Turns out, not really.
No.
That sucks. Okay, because I mean, yeah, that's the kind of the impression that I got. I had people that I was friends with and who I worked with that played it, but I mean, I don't know. There were just always complaints. There were always like, "This isn't, you know, this is weird. I didn't like this. I'm unhappy about this part of it." Yeah, so I just never really felt like it was something worth getting into. And
I would love for you to download Destiny 2 because I think it's free to play.
Sure, I believe it.
And just tell me what the new user experience is like, because when did Destiny 2 come out? Let me have a look. Destiny 2 came out in 2017. So, it's an 8-year-old game at this point, and I know for a fact the vanilla launch version of the story is not playable content in the game. Like, they've put it away in the vault and been like, new DLC stuff, you can do that kind of thing. So what is the story for a player who jumps in for the first time now? Because I can't do that, because my account has all kinds of, like, you finished the game flags and stuff like that.
Right. Well, it's kind of like World of Warcraft, where you can't join the game and start from where it was in 2004.
Right, but when you start a new character, they don't instantly make you level 40 and be like, all right, now grind to 60 and do endgame content.
They do not. That's true.
You're still like, I'm a dude at Goldshire. I gotta go milk 6 cows and kill a boar.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right. And the XP games are faster, so you level faster, and then.
Yeah, so I
Yeah, I
know.
think now it's like you get to choose your own leveling experience.
Oh,
It's
really?
like you can choose where you level and like what dungeons you do and stuff. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Hmm.
Because I know that like they've even some of the DLC stuff that they're just like, yeah, this is going into the vault and like bringing new stuff out. And the idea is that they rotate it every season, so that even the old stuff feels a little fresh, which I don't hate as an idea, but I do hate in practice. Being like,
Yeah.
I really like this raid. I can't do this raid because it's not available. you know.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then the comparison to WoW would be they did release classic servers, where like if you want to play the game like it was in 2005, you totally can, which
Yeah.
is nice. Yeah.
That is true. Um, but I have,
Just
I don't know.
20 years ago now.
Yeah. Yep. WoW's
Yeah.
almost old enough to drink.
Getting there. Very, very well. Actually, no, because '04 it launched. So yeah,
Oh,
we're
okay.
there.
Oh, okay.
Well, depending on when his birthday was.
November.
Probably.
Yeah. A lot of
November 2004. Yeah. Like Thanksgiving weekend. That's hilarious. They're like, hey gamers, you want to spend time with your family or do you want to play our new MMORPG?
Here's the thing. Games have been like coming out in November for decades. It was not a thing of being like,
yeah.
this was not Blizzard like setting the standard of being like big games come out in November.
No, I know they didn't set it up. I'm just saying that is Thanksgiving weekend. That is not November 4th. That is not November 15th. That is Thanksgiving is now.
Right. I'm just saying. I think Call of Duty has made that same bargain with gamers for the last 12 years.
Like, would you rather hang out with your family or shoot people?
Shoot people and tell them how you slept with their mom and call them racial slurs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
Call of
Well, I
Duty
was
is.
thinking. Yes, I was thinking play the 4-hour campaign, but yeah. Also, most of it's PvP, so good call. Are they even launching with campaigns anymore? Or are they just
Yes.
like screw it?
So I do this. I play Call of Duty about once a year, and I try to do like once every 3 or 4 years, just because it's the same game every year.
Yeah.
And I picked up the most recent one, Black Ops 6. There are now 6 Black Ops. That blew my mind. Last I looked, it was like
Yep.
3. And there's a campaign. I played the first level and was like, this is not engaging. Right? Like, there was no hooks in the first level for me to care about any characters. Or, like, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you finish the campaign,
No,
or you just
no,
like
nope.
left off? Okay, cool.
No, I just
Great.
went to
Good job, Activision. Nailed it.
just went to multiplayer and was like, I guess I'll pretend I care about the daily challenges and just do a bunch of those.
Do you get an achievement for finishing the campaign? I'd be curious to see how many people have done that.
Yeah, you get achievements for finishing the campaign. And because of Steam,
I'm
I
just
can
curious about the
look that
most
up.
recent one. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see how many people have actually bothered with it because honestly,
Okay, so this is really interesting. This is gonna be really screwy because on Steam, Call of Duty is just like a hub game, so you can swap between Modern Warfare or Black Ops or Vanguard or the World War II one or whatever. But all the achievements are collected, so there's 107 achievements from what I can see, and I don't think all of them are about the new Black Ops. But if it is, it might be, because that's the only one that I own on Steam, so it might be showing me that. The achievement most of the global population has is reach level 55, which will be a multiplayer achievement. That's 11.7% of players.
Dang. Okay.
The
That's
next
interesting.
the next highest is at 6.4%, and that's finished the campaign on any difficulty.
There you go.
So
Huh.
11% of all players are getting to level 55, which I assume is the highest level in multiplayer. That's 11% of all players, and that's nearly double the amount of players actually finishing the campaign.
Those numbers feel low.
They do.
That's amazing.
A lot of
Yeah.
people play on other platforms as well, right? So
Right.
because it's cross-play, I also play with people on PlayStation, Xbox, and I think the people who buy it on BattleNet would be in there too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I always forget it's on there because I think I hid anything to do with
Oh,
that a long time ago.
can I complain about something?
You may.
So I was like, I want to play Gears of War. Gears of War 1, they did a HD League remaster and put it out on the Microsoft Store. Great, excellent. It even comes with a bonus chapter that was originally cut content from the game. It's really good.
Ooh.
It's fun. We should play it sometime if you want to play Gears of War. Gears of War 2 and 3, they never brought to PC.
Okay.
And Gears of War Judgment. So there's 3 games that they haven't brought to the PC. But if you sign up for Xbox Game Pass, you can stream the games on a Xbox 360 emulator that they have.
It sounds like a garbage experience. Yeah.
Nope, it's actually totally fine, but you have to use a controller, which is a garbage experience. The game runs perfectly, it's just you're forced to use a controller. I was playing it, there was no lag, it was great. Except
Oh.
I was using a controller, so I got really frustrated with not being able to hit anything.
Uh-huh.
Because
Makes sense.
I used to be a big console gamer 12 years ago. haven't shot anything with a thumbstick in a while, but I went to
Right.
BattleNet to launch up StarCraft, and because Blizzard is now owned by Microsoft and those accounts are linked for me, they added games to my favorites list. They were just like, "Oh, Diablo 4 comes with Game Pass. It's on your favorites. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, it's not out yet, but it's on your favorites." Like, they just couldn't
Okay.
help themselves to not fuck with
No. Oh, it's annoying.
it. Oh,
Freaking giant conglomerate garbage.
yeah. And then Gears of War 4 and 5 are on Steam, so I kind of skipped just straight to 4.
Yeah.
Yep. Good game. Good game. If you want to play Gears 1, 4, and 5 with me, I'm available. there,
1, 4, and 5, you say?
yeah. There's actually another game coming out soon. It's been announced. It doesn't have a release date. It says maybe sometime this year. But so that's why I was excited to replay those games. Which I guess I'm not doing. Because whoever freaking owns them, Coalition Studios or, I don't know, Clifford Blazinski, I don't know.
Blazinski.
Yeah, Blazinski. Cliffy B.
He's kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal.
Cliff
Yeah.
Blazinski?
Yeah, yeah. He, like, owned Epic Games, or, like, founded it. Cliff Blazinski.
Yeah, he's sort of like Jazz Jackrabbit. Hell yeah. That's
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
Yep.
Unreal Tournament's his. Gears of War, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, so that's that, dude.
Yeah.
Doing all right.
He then
Yep.
left Epic Games to found Boss Key Productions, which lasted 4 years and then shut down, and then I think he retired.
Brutal.
Yeah.
In 1988, at age 13, Cliff appeared in the first issue of Nintendo Power for earning a high score of 9,999,950 in Super Mario Bros. Remember back when scores used to matter in Mario games? Very
No.
funny.
Yeah. For the sake of conversation, yes, but no. I never
Yeah.
played old Mario games. So.
Oh, it's so great because there's this moment in the movie The Wizard, which introduced North America to the Super Mario 3.
Okay.
They have a video game competition where the final competition is 3 people are playing Super Mario 3 side by side, and they're like keeping track of the scores. It's adorable. It's so cute.
Fair enough.
Because pretty soon after that, we all agreed, like, that's dumb. Like, I know we have scores in there because of arcade. Like, this is where all this came from. But for consoles, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
We're going to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Good times.
Yeah, yeah. StarCraft news. StarCraft is being sold to. It's open for bidding apparently for some Korean developers to buy it. We talked about this on stream. We're not
I thought it
super.
was Tencent.
No,
That's China.
that's China. All the
Yeah.
names that we listed were Korean developers on stream.
Okay.
One of which apparently is the developers behind PUBG. So maybe we'll get a
Ooh,
StarCraft
wow.
Battle Royale.
I mean, I'd try it. That could be fun.
You spawn in as a lava and you have to go and look for, instead of like weapons, you look for DNA and you get to evolve into a different Zerg unit.
Yeah. Dude, I'd play that. That sounds awesome.
I'd say hire me Blizzard, but hire me Crofton.
Yeah, there you go.
Just doesn't roll
Whoever
off the tongue. No, it's Crofton.
No, doesn't really. What a time we live in. What a time to be alive.
Uh-huh. I still see people every now and then saying StarCraft 2 is still confirmed for EWC, despite it not being mentioned on their website.
Right.
So still waiting for any news.
Yeah, not too surprised, honestly.
Maybe that's why they haven't done anything with the esports scene, is because they're like, well, we're selling the series in like a month.
Yeah, we'll see what the new owners want to do with it.
Exactly.
Don't like that at all.
Yep. Nope. Hate it.
Nope.
All right. I think that's
All
everything.
right. Warhammer time.
Warhammer. Woo! What did we read, Falcon?
Woo! We read For the Emperor.
Yeah, Ciaphas Cain for the Emperor by Sandy Mitchell.
Yes,
Um,
indeed. Which you told me was written in like 2001.
2004, I think. Off the top of my
Yeah.
head. Yeah, so Sandy Mitchell is a pseudonym, nom de plume. It's written by.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know the reason why he wrote these specific books under the name Sandy Mitchell, and I kind of don't care. You know, there's another author called Alex Stewart, same guy. Don't know why he chose to do his Warhammer stuff under Sandy Mitchell, but he did.
Yeah.
I think because of the style of writing that Cain embodies, it makes kind of sense for it to be a different name, like to just be like as part of the joke that this is not written by you, because it feels very personal to Cain.
Right.
But I do feel I need to like set the scales for this novel, which is having read it after the last things we read, which were like the Horus Heresy and the Eisenhorn books. Did this book in any way make, break, or shape your understanding of Warhammer? Because I don't think it will. Like, it will not.
No,
There's
100%.
no groundbreaking. It's just
Nope.
very on the level. It is not a. I don't want to say consequential, because it makes it feel like I'm undervaluing the book. The book is fantastic. I love this book. But
Very fun.
it's fun. It's just not very serious. And so you don't come away with it being like, well, what are the lore implications of this book? I don't feel like that's ever going to happen reading these.
No, I didn't bump against anything.
Yeah.
Everything they said about the wider galaxy, everything they said about anything, I was like, yep, cool,
Yep.
I'm down.
Cool.
Yep. It's really my first introduction to Tyranids.
No, Ravenel had Tyranids.
think.
Ravenel had Tyranids when they go through the
But
door.
not. I know, but like as like it's
As an enemy of the characters.
yeah, it's like a cameo. Like the Tyranids have a cameo in that book.
Uh-huh. What's even better is
Yeah.
the Tyranids have a cameo in Ravenel, but they don't know what they are. They just like
Right.
one of the people operating the house calls them the Great Devourer. And they're like, well, I don't know what that
This is the first time where it's like, okay, I have fought Tyranids. I know how they work. I know what their strategies are. I know what they're doing. I know how to fight them. I'm afraid of them because I know what they can do. Right, all that stuff. It was the first time I really got a thorough. Here are the Tyranids kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Although, well, really, only the gene stealer aspect of it,
Yeah,
though, right?
I know, yeah. There were no actual
Yeah.
Tyranids in this book.
No, it's really just the concept that Tyranids, far from being a mindless, all-consuming entity that just shows up and fights you until it conquers you, right? It does send in forward.
Scouting
I mean,
saboteurs,
scouting, and assimilation troops. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and saboteurs. And they're willing to wait years for this. Like,
Mhm.
they do it, and they're like, we'll wait for a few years for this to take effect, to destabilize the planet. It'll be easier for us to conquer when we finally show up. Like, it's really, really forward-thinking stuff.
Yeah, so it is interesting because like I think when you read enough other Tyranid books, that it's not doing it in the same way that like the Imperial Guard has a Lord General, and then they have a bunch of brigades under them or whatever, and they're like issuing
Yeah.
commands. They're literally letting the Gene Stealers kind of spread however they can autonomously, and the Gene Stealers, in some cases, don't even know what they're doing. There's another book that we can read called, I think it's called Death World, and the Gene Stealers think they're just singing to the Emperor's angels, like the people who get hybridized. And like Cain mentions at the end of the book that like these people with like the organs stuffed in them, who then go on to spread more Gene Stealers. They can like they don't even know that they're calling the Tyranids. They think they're calling angels to come and save them, but it's the Tyranids
Okay.
because
Yeah.
when he goes down into like the Undercity and he finds that horrible effigy of the Emperor that's been debased, it's the Forearm Emperor. They still think they're worshipping the Emperor sometimes. It's
That's
just the
weird, man.
Forearm Emperor, right? So
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Tyranids just kind of like let these things spread. They're like a parasite and host species kind of relationship where it's like wherever they take root enough, they'll call the Tyranids too, rather than the Tyranids being like, go here and destabilize that place. It's like, oh,
Oh.
wherever they happen to pop up, that's where we'll know it's weak, and we'll go there.
And then they have, like, intergalactic transmission hubs.
Uh, it's all in the warp. It's all warp stuff. It's all psychic
It's
stuff.
all warp stuff.
Yeah.
They communicate through the warp to the hive, and they're like, we're ready. Come on over.
Yeah, they start like calling out to the hive fleets. Yeah. Once there's enough of them.
Interesting. Can
Because
that be
that,
tracked? Can you hear it?
um, if an author wanted to do that, they probably could. But no, I think in general, if regular astropaths could hear the gene sealers calling out,
Yeah.
they'd find them a lot quicker. They wouldn't be as good at their job.
Right. And that's what I'm wondering. It kind of like, if it's a human organization, right, that's
Mm-hmm.
sending in infiltrators to screw up the planet before it gets invaded,
Mm-hmm.
the most dangerous part is calling back home and being like, hey, we're ready.
Right.
Right?
So
Yeah.
here's how I'm going to picture this, which is all of the gene stealers have a very low level psychic hive mind that they emit. Like there's the patriarch,
Right.
and because Jurgen's a blank, spoilers for the book, they
Spoilers.
they
The
can't
first
see.
time you meet him, you're like, oh, it's a blank. And I was like, I don't know what's going on with this guy. Like, uh-huh.
So you worked out that he was a blank very quickly.
Immediately.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, he has a lot of like.
Would a reader in 2004 not be able to do that?
Ooh, maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't read the book in 2004 when I was 11. Sue me.
Right.
Yeah, they have a very low level resonance, right? And they're only able to like reach out to the hive fleet once there's a sufficient population of them because they're very very small. But as that number grows across generations, it's that resonance in the warp is slowly growing and is just considered the background noise. So
Ooh.
it's possible that an astropath might pick up on it, but if you're an astropath working at a relay station in orbit for 20 years and you show up and it's always been there, you're not going to think anything different about it.
But if you look more closely at it, can you read it?
I doubt
You
it.
just don't because it's always been there?
It's
Okay,
just
so it
always
doesn't
been
matter then.
Yeah.
So if it's not readable, then it doesn't matter. You should have said that at the start. Like, we
Well,
can't
hey,
decipher
look.
their communications at all.
I mean, again, they're not sending out text being like, hey, come. You know, it's very different to the way that the Imperium sends messages through the warp. Like, the Hive Fleets show up, and because, again, the Hive Fleets are all psychically linked to each other, they actually block out all psychic communication for regular people, for humans, right? Like, they call it the shadow in the warp. So once a tendril gets close enough to a planet, they can't even call for help, right? All the psychics, they emit a null state across everything.
Yeah. Okay.
which will, I mean, if we keep reading the series, you'll come across that. So
It'll get there.
yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right.
Which, okay, so we've
Yeah.
taken this
So,
book very seriously. Do we want to get into the jokes?
well, okay. Just one more thing before we get into the jokes.
Yeah.
So the gene stealers on this backwater planet are basically like, if we can get the Tau and the Imperium to fight each other,
Mm-hmm.
then
They'll
they'll
both.
weaken each other's stances in this sector of the galaxy, and it'll be easier for us to come on over.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So that's a level that the gene stealers can get to, right?
They can, yeah.
Can they get like higher than? I mean, is it
Uh,
way more complicated than that ever, or is that basically as smart as they get?
um, I mean, I think that's pretty smart. Like, they have a
It is pretty smart.
They have a, like,
But I mean, it's like first week of military school smart. Like, make your enemies fight each other, and then it's easier to take them down. You can say it in
Yeah.
one sentence.
true, but actually doing it on, like, it's easier to say than it is to do,
yes.
right?
Accomplishing it is more difficult for sure.
The fact that they've got the planetary governor as a hybrid
Yeah.
means that they're open to doing a lot of things, right? And they'd clearly been like working to destabilize the population for centuries, maybe, to getting them,
Maybe.
because you gotta like, if you start off that this planet is a loyalist planet, you can't just be like, okay, now a bunch of you please be friends with the Xenos. Like, they're gonna show up and be like, excuse me, what? So
Yeah.
bridging that gap takes time. Just in itself.
Totally.
So they've, this is a centuries long plan, decades, I don't know how long. But if you can get to the hive, the planetary governor, an author can essentially have them do whatever they want to destabilize the planet.
Certainly, but
If they
yeah,
can't
I
get
mean,
to,
but a big part of it was also just infiltrating the local military
the PDF.
with with people with opposite ideas and having them kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that doesn't require infiltrating like the governor at all. It's just
Yeah.
that's a destabilization thing that you can do without doing that. That's all.
That's also true. Yeah, there are definitely times where gene stealers have like, they couldn't get to the governor, but they could get to key members of the Arbites or the PDF or the personal guard or something like that. And then instead of pitting the planet against the Tau, they just have a good old fashioned civil war, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And then they do that right on the brink as the High Fleet shows up, right? They don't even try to win. They're just like, let's attack now,
Yep.
2 weeks before the Hive shows up.
Totally. Totally. I get it.
It doesn't have to be complicated stuff, really. You just need access to people.
Yeah.
You just
which
need bodies.
is pretty easy when there's a lot of bodies in the Imperium.
Yeah.
So many bodies. Yeah. And I guess the other thing is that at the end there are a couple characters who have been God, what's the word? Turned into hive mind members. What's the assimilated, I guess.
Assimilated, yeah.
They've been assimilated, and the way that we can tell that they're assimilated is that they seem dazed and confused, and they can't quite explain how they got out of the mess they were in. And I'm like, that's enough to shoot them in the face? Okay, we were right this time.
I mean, that's like the immediate after effects of like the implantation. Eventually, they go back to normal, right? But they don't know that they're
Right.
right. So
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. But Caiaphas shoots them dead, and then
Right.
is like, hey, look, these
They-
little marks on them.
right, they
Like,
also
after the fact.
they also got out of the Undercity as just the two of them that was infested with gene stealers without the aid of a blank or an inquisitor. So like that's a really suspicious story to begin with, and the fact that they can't give any solid details as to what happened. There's a little more
I
to it than
agree.
just like, oh, those troopers are tired. I guess I'll shoot them in the head.
No, I said one, they're dazed and confused. Two, they can't quite explain how they got out of the really dangerous situation that they were in with gene stealers. That's all it was.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, restrain them and inspect them and find those little marks that you found after they were dead, and then shoot them in the head. We could order of operations here.
Right, well, if
Sometimes
you-
could be wrong.
Right. Well, you could, but like, if they are, infected, and you go, hey, we just want to run a medical exam, and they go, oh shit, and the gene stealers locally go, oh, they're going to find out, quick, have them grab their gun and shoot everyone they can, anyone they can.
You're
It's
ignoring the part where I very specifically said restrain them
right, but if you
and
go to
then inspect them for marks.
but if you go to restrain them and they go, no, I don't want to be restrained, like the
Then you shoot them because they're in the military and they're disobeying a direct order from the fucking commissar. I
right.
think my plan is fine. I have this figured out.
I
You're
don't
just being obstinate.
I don't think so. I think the opportunity cost of just shooting them immediately for the Imperium is zero. Like it's
Wow, okay. A very important phrase there. For the Imperium,
uh-huh.
you are right.
Yeah, and guess what? We're reading a
Okay.
book about the Imperium.
Okay, fair. Done. You're right. For the Imperium.
If it was us, yeah, okay, great. My personal feelings towards Australian troops, yes, let's try and restrain them. Let's try to give them an X-ray and see if they've got something on. Let's try and remove it and see if we can fix these people. That would be swell. If I'm the
Yeah.
commissar, you can just shoot them.
I did forget about the part where these two troops were involved in like murdering other troopers at the start of the book.
Right.
Yeah. So in that case,
I feel like this is a good opportunity to go back to the start of the book.
It is. Agreed.
And really explore the setting in the tone of the book, which is Ciaphas Cain is a hero of the Imperium. He is a commissar who has survived some horrific events we get, like, occasionally dropped through. Like, he was on a space hulk at one point, and, like, the Battle of Pearlia and stuff like this. All these little, like, references that are like, these will be detailed elsewhere in the archives, and those are future books. You can read those later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's a hero, and he's been attached to, like, command headquarters, and he's like, they keep sending him on suicide missions, so he's like, please give me back to any regiment. It has to be better than this, because I don't want to die. I keep getting put in awful situations.
And he survives by being a ginormous coward. It's the best.
Because he's a ginormous coward. He's a very capable coward, but he is, by his own admission in his very frank and honest memoirs that we're reading from, a colossal coward who's only interested in protecting himself.
Yes.
There are tons of times throughout the book where he's like, I was riding up in the cab of the Salamander, and I sat in the middle because that way there would be people to the left and right of me that I could use as meat shields if we come under attack.
Yep. There's constantly that is happening throughout the book.
Constantly.
Yeah, everywhere he is.
So the book is being written up by an inquisitor. It's like, oh, I found his, like, unpublished memoirs after he's died, right? So start off the book, we know he's going to die eventually, but it's like hundreds
he's a regular
of years.
dude. Like, of course he's gonna die eventually.
Right. But he mentions that he makes it to his second century, so he's at least 200 years old when at the time of writing the memoirs.
I know, crazy impressive. Yeah.
And
so, as an aside, what is the average lifespan of somebody who has moderate money for juvenation?
I don't know.
Okay.
Up to the author. I can tell you.
It's not like 10,000 years, right?
No. Okay, so I think Inquisitor Rorken, who is the, like, Inquisitor Lord of the Helico Scepter, that's like Eisenhorn and Ravenous boss, he gets to like 300-400, right? And that's
okay. Got it.
He's a very important dude for that area. So
2+ is pretty impressive for
for
a
hero,
random dude, but he's not exactly.
Okay, so he does mention this in other books that, like, as a hero of the Imperium, he's afforded some juvenile work, and being the boyfriend of an Inquisitor also gets him a little more, right?
But he's already 200+ before he meets her, so.
No. He's 200+ at the time of writing his memoirs. In the story, he's not.
Oh, I thought it was 200+ in the story. Okay,
No.
Got it.
Yeah.
How old is he in the story?
I don't know, 40s.
Okay.
Because he's like graduated from the Schola Progenium, so let's say he's 25, and then he says he's been with Jurgen for at least 13 years. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yep. So this is.
Yeah. I like how he.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No, I have another tangent-ish.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just gonna say it's very clearly the start of his career. This
Yeah.
it's very near the beginning. That's all.
I
What's
like how he has a backstory that he's really firm about, but Girlfriend Inquisitor's like, I don't know, man. There are a lot of weird things about his life story.
there are a ton of holes. Like he keeps mentioning,
Yeah.
like my parents were killed by Kroot, and they only signed up for the guard to escape the hive. And it's like, yeah, but you're a commissar. That's a position given to like children who were orphaned, but their parents were like really well
Heroes.
regarded. Yeah, these are
Yeah.
like sons and daughters of lord generals. That after
Yeah.
the lord general died, they get taken to the scholar and put on like a officer's track, basically.
Right, right.
So it's like,
And it's like there's no records of your parents doing anything. I can't find like that they ever served together, which is again a little bit weird. Like men and women serve, yes, but not necessarily together all the time.
she
So
mentions
like the
that
odds of this happening and dying at the exact same battle is just
there's a lot
very,
of
very rare.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is interesting because it's like the one thing she can't read about him because she picks up on very quickly that he's pretending to be a hero of the Imperium. He's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
colossal coward. She gets it so quickly.
Inquisitor. That's what she does.
Yeah, it's
She
true. It's true.
inquisits things. Yeah.
I do think it's really funny when he's like dancing with her, and he's like, "Oh, don't you know there's an Inquisitor here on Gravelax?" And he like mentions
Yeah.
Aurelius and is like, "That guy over there, he's the Inquisitor." He said to the Inquisitor. The book is very funny.
It is.
There's a lot of things that like he just kind of like manipulates his way through, even to the point where at the start of the book he's brought into this regiment that's like falling apart because they're two combined regiments and they're not getting along because one is like shock assault troops, best in the Imperium, or so they believe, and the other one is an all-female company who on founding day will start a fight by serving dinner on the regimental chinaware.
On fine china. That was great. That was so good.
Oh,
Yeah. That's a great moment in the book too. It's pretty early because they tell you they're like they're not getting along. They hate each other's guts for all these reasons. And then this giant brawl starts in the mess hall and they're killing each other and you're like, how do we get this far? And then they explain it's because of that. Like the female troopers tried to serve dinner on this like fine china and the dudes were like fuck that and they're like that's our tradition, fuck you. And like super strong emotions came out of that and then stabbing. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
It's just a good little human thing that I thought made a lot of sense.
it did make a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah.
I think having regimental crockery for a guy, like I'm just imagining that them having to hold that to every planet they go to. I mean, like when we have
Yep.
to evacuate in a rush because we're fighting Tyranids, and that's not going to go well all the time. Make sure to bring the dinnerware. you know,
Totally.
I think that's really funny.
Well, just the fact that it survived so long in
Sure.
situations like that makes
Sure.
it more important to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we get to meet some of the other characters, like who is it? There's Colonel Castine, who is appointed colonel of the newly amalgamated two regiments by a matter of 3 days seniority over Major Brockle the Man. But
Who
we
has
also
seen like 800 battles? Yeah.
right. But we also get Janet Sula, and Cain is a bit of a dick in that he describes all
Yes.
women by how attractive he thinks they are. So Castine is
Totally.
are really attractive for a redhead, and Janet Sula is of equine disposition. Which
So horse-faced. Got it.
horse-faced. And I really love Sula, not for how she is in this book, but because Cain doesn't mention all the shit that he's not a part of and doesn't care for historical context, the Inquisitor who's editing up these memoirs is like, I have to go and find local sources to give context. One of the things that she gets context from is a really awfully written book by Lady General of the Imperium, Janet Sula.
Who's just like a gun hand right now. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
So she turns out to be this massively important Lady General of the Imperium who is overly riding the the heroism of her founding regiment, like the regiment she came from, and like her
Yep.
time with Hero of the Imperium, who she considers a big honor and a huge inspiration for her. And all of the books, all of when Cain mentions her, is like, I bet she did something fucking stupid. Like, why would she? Why would she charge that position? That's a really dumb idea. He hates her. He is like,
He
she's gonna
yeah,
get herself
consistently
killed.
devalues her. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
and she's just like, I strove to embody the trust that Commissar Cain had put in me and my troops. You know?
Then it totally works in the end.
Yeah.
Like she becomes this like huge. Oh,
Just, I just asked myself, what would Commissar Cain do in this position, and then did that.
oh. So,
Oh.
like, what exactly is the Lady General of the Imperium?
So
Is
she's
it a made-up thing for this book?
yes and no. It's just like we have Lord General Zyvan. He's like the guy in charge of all the troops on the planet
Okay,
that we meet. It's
the
basically like
planet, not the Imperium.
no. I mean, I it's she's not a High Lord. She doesn't like take over all of the armed forces of the Imperium, right? But she's just
Okay,
maybe a sector. I don't know. Maybe a subsector. I don't know.
okay,
It's mostly made up, but I think she just Lady General. It just is a general. She's like she's high, but she's not. I don't know, super high.
okay.
Like I don't know how to put it. Yeah. I mean, she's two steps below like War Master rank for a Crusade,
I
kind
mean,
of like that, which is high, but it's not. You know.
yeah. So I mean, just the point is that higher than you would expect her to be based on where she is today, by a
Right.
long shot.
Right. You would not
Okay,
expect her to get that far, and she does. So,
right. Which is cool.
one of the other sources
And
for historical. Oh, do you have something else about her?
well, I just want to say that her writing is the worst. Like I tripped up on it every time
Uh huh.
because it's like it's
It's
funny, it's well written, it's flowy, and then it's like here's some historical context, blah, and I'm like,
and it's
it's only
supposed to
like
be
two
bad.
pages.
It's supposed to be
I know it is, but man, it hurts.
So we get two other authors for giving historical context. One is, I think, Major Brochlaw, the male in charge, and he does not like writing after action reports, so it's all very matter of fact, bare as
Yep.
details, and over as quickly as possible. The other
Yes.
one, which might be my favorite, which is the historian who hates rogue traders.
Yeah. Yeah. Who
So
like everything he writes about, it's secretly being controlled by obviously the nefarious
well,
rogue traders who have their
not
hands in everything.
not obviously, but after a careful sifting of available evidence, it always points back to the shadowy figures, the rogue traders. It's so good. It's so
It's really
man
good.
with a grudge who's also a historian, so he gets to like exercise that grudge every chance he gets.
Constantly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And Inquisitor lady is always like, yes, you get it, etc., etc. Okay, we're moving on.
right. So a lot of the footnotes, Amberly Vale's comments on whatever Kane's writing. So you shared one with me when you started reading the book about how Cain doesn't like to resort to death threats and bribes because that attracts inquisitorial resentment because they're much better at it and don't like people referring to it to their methods. And the footnote is just this is of course entirely untrue. As His Divine Majesty's most faithful servants, we are most definitely above petty emotions like resentment,
So good.
which is the boldest faced lie.
Yes, and also very funny on its face. Yeah.
Yeah. So I absolutely live for those footnotes. They really are just the best thing. I love them.
They are great. How do they do that in the audiobook?
So all of Kane's stuff is narrated by one person, and then Amberly Vale's footnotes are narrated by another person. So
So like he
they
says
just
the sentence and then immediately goes into the foot.
there's like a short pause. It's not like do 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 do
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. Um,
I get it.
yeah, but there's also a different narrator, another woman for Janet Sulas as well. So they go
Hmm.
out. They've got three narrators for these audiobooks.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's for the Emperor. I mean, do we want to talk about the conspiracy at all? I don't like. It's weird that the meat of the matter kind of doesn't matter. You know?
The meat of the matter is that the Tyranids are trying to destabilize the planet,
Yeah, that's it.
and the plot gets discovered and shut down.
And
Yeah, that's it. That's the book.
Maybe Cain gets he like spots that their soldiers have been indoctrinated or implanted, shoots them, but manages not to tell the Tau that maybe their soldiers have too, and that could just attract the Hive fleets later to the Tau worlds instead of the Imperial world. So there's a bit of scheming going on.
I mean, they hate the Xenos. What do
That's
you
true.
want?
That's true.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Do we want to read another Cain book? Do you enjoy these?
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it. Can I just one last thing?
Yeah.
So this is basically my introduction to the Tau.
Oh yeah, it was mine as well. Oh, actually, I should
Yeah.
mention because I did some research for the book, 'cause in case you had answers. Someone made a great point that this book doesn't do the thing where everything is listed by its tabletop name, like because everything in this has a model. Like the
Yeah.
Imperial Guard obviously have models. All their tanks, the Salamanders, the Scout variants, all that they all have models. But Cain doesn't know what they're called, so he calls all of the Tau battlesuits dreadnoughts
Right,
because
which is very funny.
he's seen dreadnoughts, but he doesn't know what
Yeah.
these are. So he's like, "Those are Tau dreadnoughts. Those are scary."
Right. And I think he calls it that to a Tau. And the Tau's like, actually, no, they're just this. And they're just bodysuits.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, they're nothing special." Ha ha ha. Right? And it's like, okay, no,
Uh-huh.
but the giant battle suit is probably pretty special. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, what were you gonna say? 'Cause this is
Just
your introduction to Tau.
their entire worldview,
Oh, for the greater good.
the greater good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Yeah. So my first exposure to the Tau, I think, were in comics on r/Grimdank,
Oh,
where there's
okay.
a person who posts comics about them about once a week.
How there's a,
But
probably a
in
Tau women prefer human men.
No, it's specifically like I think the storyline is basically a human, like a female member of the the guard,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Random foot soldier gets picked up and is like living with the Tau,
So
and that's
yeah.
pretty much it. Like as far as I know, there's no fucking going on.
I mean, who
She
knows what's
just
going on?
she's yeah, but I mean she just kind of like trying to like learn how things are going, and she's starting to think like this life is better than her old one,
Uh huh.
right? And she's kind of culture shock.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So okay, this is a thing that happens in the background of 40k, which is the Tau move in to human worlds, or sometimes they, I don't know, rescue people. I don't feel like they're abducting people because what happens
Yeah.
next wouldn't really make sense, which is they offer to have human worlds become like vassal states of the Tau Empire. And as a
Right.
part of that, sometimes they just recruit actual humans to come and like be in the Tau Empire.
Hmm.
To the point where they did try to capture Space Marines and be like, let's work out what's going on with these guys and if we can get them to join. And that did not go well for everyone involved.
I imagine that went poorly for everyone involved.
Right.
Yeah.
But there are humans who even serve in their military. One of the few jobs that you can get in the Tau is because they have a caste system where there's ethereals at the top and then like air caste, water caste, fire caste, and earth caste, right? They're all based on the elements, right? The fire caste are the warriors. So when the Imperial Guard like defects and goes, hey, on the surface this seems really way better than like eating reconstituted human corpses as food, the Tau are like, giving me real food and freedoms and everything's for the greater good, and like all of our decisions are what benefit the people rather than someone somewhere else says, hey, go retake that citadel, 10,000 troops a day die because of some decision, right?
Right.
Everything
Right.
seems way better. That is a thing that happens. Yeah. It's not super
Okay.
common, and there are definitely Tau books where they have human forces, like the crew as a client species, but
Yeah.
because things start going a bit weird or the Tau start losing and they don't know quite what's going on, like the Tau get confused by warp stuff because they don't have a lot of psychers,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of go, well, maybe we can solve it by just executing all of the weird aliens we keep around. And that means the humans.
Oh, for the greater good.
For the greater good. I mean, if the death of the humans stops all of the warp bullshit and the rest of the Tau get to leave, that's what the greater good means.
Yes, it sure does. Yep.
So, in context, the Tau were added to the game for like anime fans. Like a lot of their all of their big vehicles are basically mechs. So they have big like walking stompy robots that look like Gundams.
We already have those. We have Titans everywhere.
Titans, yes, but not Gundams. Like these look like Gundams.
Okay, fine.
So they,
Distinction, got it.
yeah, it's the distinction.
Yeah.
It's all about the appeal. But they're kind of a comment on communism in the meta, like everything's for the greater good, right? Right,
Yeah, yeah,
comrade?
yeah.
But also maybe that's just imperial propaganda, because if the Tau can work together and everyone is bound together to work for the greater good, there has to be something going wrong with it, right? There has to be something. Like you have to rule by fear and oppression, right? Says the Imperium.
Right.
And there's a mention in this book where Amberley Vale in like a footnote says something about trying to work out how the head of the Tau operate, right? Because
Yeah.
they believe that if it's not through fear and oppression, it's through mind control.
Ah,
And
of course.
that's what they're trying to work out. How are the Tau mind controlling all of their people and the crew and the humans who join them? Because it has to be mind control, because they can't possibly have a point, you know?
So, at this point, are the Tau just a very distinct counterpoint to the Imperium's way of doing things? Like, to just make it very explicitly clear that no, not the only way to do this is ruling through fear and terror and power.
Yes, but also they're portrayed as being very naive about like the nature of the warp. Like they don't have warp capable ships. They just
Yeah.
have really good tech that allows them to fly closer to the like speed of light than humans do or whatever is I think how it works.
Hmm.
And so
Okay.
a lot of the counterpoint there is, well, the warp's monstrous and you have to be monstrous to survive it, right? Like it forces you to do all sorts of invasive stuff because you need to root out psychics from your population, because if you don't, they'll summon demons.
Yeah,
The Tau
I've been
haven't
reading
come across
Inquisitor
that.
books, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Tau haven't come across that, so they don't get it. Is the idea.
Hmm.
So on the one hand, it's very pointedly like you don't have to live like this, Imperium. You just choose to. But also maybe you do, because people are meant to come to whatever the conclusion they want. Um, but yeah, the Tau definitely serve that purpose.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes sense. All right, good deal.
good deal.
Yeah, we can read the next one. That
The
sounds
next one
good.
is called Caves of Ice by Sandy Mitchell, also written in 2004. It is another short book, 208 pages, 6 hours on the audiobook. It's a bit short. What I will say is I'm going to assume you either saw and recognized the pun in the name of the planet. Actually, maybe you didn't. So the planet is called Gravelax that
Okay.
we were on, and Gravlax is like a salmon dish, right? Because the Tau were like kind of blue cow fish people. So
Okay.
there's a pun in the name, but it's setting up that a lot of the planets in the Cain series have silly names. The next one is Simia Orichalca, which translates to brass monkey, right? It's the name of the planet.
Okay.
That'll be important. Like, you'll work it out.
Noted.
But
Very good.
I'm just telling you, there are puns in the books. Be warned.
I'll try to avoid them as best I can.
Mm.
All
Uh,
right. Sounds good. Book acquired.
Excellent.
Sometimes if I do it too fast, it's like, you don't have this book. How are you trying to read this book? It's like, I'm sorry it's not downloaded yet. Stop freaking out.
Oh man, talking of freaking out, my
Mm.
Audible app on my phone. Every time I'm like, I I went to go and remove For the Emperor because I finished listening to this morning, and I got to my library and it's downloaded. Don't know why. The Unremembered Empire by Dan Abnett. It's like one of the books
Okay.
from the Horus Heresy that we read.
Yeah,
Ev-
we know that
I
one.
I have to remove it from my device daily.
What?
It
That's
just keeps
annoying.
it just keeps trying to download it.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
I feel like I bet you could talk to Amazon about this. They're pretty good with their customer service.
Yeah, yeah, I
Just
probably
saying.
should. I
You could give
probably
it a
should.
try. That's incredibly annoying.
Yep, super is.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
I don't
that's.
even know, like, I can't come up with a reason why that would be happening. Like,
Thanks, Aki. If that's what if you're doing,
okay, that explains everything. Thanks, Aki.
yep. Happy April Fools.
All right, wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. All right. Thanks for being here for another edition of the Falcon Paladin Hour, streamed live at twitch.tv/Somicron. You can find the VODs over at youtube.com/@Somicron. And you can support the podcast by subscribing to the Twitch channel, or by gifting subs and tossing bits and stuff, or you can go to patreon.com/Omicron and sub there, or by going to falconpaladin.store and buying merch. So excellent stuff. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be back next week with more Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
Probably maybe some more anime we've watched or whatever, or stuff crosses our paths. And till then, thanks for watching, and you take care of yourself.
Bye.